There are more buffalo skulls than human beings here. This is a place of sad people. They come here to recall their past, which doesn't differ much from their present.
Let me out, please. My 8 hours are up. I'll behave. Please let me out. Please let me out.
In the 19th century, those cages were used by local police to sober the Native Americans up. Now it's just an attraction for passers-by. But modern Indians remain in a cage, locked and abandoned. The northern plains used to be a boundless territory of freedom. Different Indian tribes lived their traditional way for centuries here. Few of them survived. They've become heroes of movies and songs. The life of Native Americans is just another element of popular culture in the United States. A monument which commemorates the purchase of Manhattan by the Dutchman is a good example. A Native American is portrayed as a man who sells his land to a foreigner in exchange for cheap goods. A Native American is rarely seen in New York. Once an Indian settlement, now it's become the world's financial capital, while its native inhabitants were either killed or moved to reservations thousands of kilometers away. A remote reservation in South Dakota is home to one of the most obstinate Indian tribes. The Oglala Sioux were the last Native Americans to be forced into reservations in the 19th century. They preserved the spirit of their ancestors. Russell Means is a man who struggles for the freedom of Native Americans. Actually, he doesn't like the name. He prefers to call his people the Indians. Mr. Means, who is a member of the Oglala Lakota Sioux tribe, is an experienced opposition leader. He's resisted the US government for decades, and in 2007, he made an unexpected step. Along with other Oglala Lakota leaders, he announced the tribe's withdrawal from all the agreements with the US government and proclaimed the Republic of Lakota.
First they ignore you, then they make fun of you, then they fight you, then you win. And we've already won. We've already won. We're non-threatening, non-violent to the United States or anyone in the world. And so, thanks to their ignorance, they're ignoring us, we are rebuilding our country as we speak. So it's a beautiful experience, rebuilding freedom.
The Lakota's independence hasn't been recognized by any country so far, but Mr. Mintz claims their ideas are very popular among indigenous peoples around the globe. He believes the moment will come when the Lakota will negotiate with the United States as equal partners. Despite being ultra-conservative, Russell uses modern means of communication to recruit more supporters. Every week he appears on the YouTube with passionate speeches.
The caveman mentality rules. Look at Bush. Excellent example of a caveman. Or any other despot around the world. So welcome, if you are a peaceful person, to the Republic of Lakota, and we will relearn our duties as human beings together.
An experienced activist, Mr. Mintz sought the presidential nomination of the Libertarian Party in 1987. Though he didn't succeed, he kept an expressive style, using it in his acting career. The heroic tales are now over. The Native Americans were pushed into reservations while their lands have been taken over by the United States. The Black Hills in South Dakota had been inhabited by the Indians for centuries. In the 19th century, gold was discovered there, and gold prospectors from all across the continent rushed to the Black Hills. A vast territory which includes parts of 5 states, Montana, Wyoming, North Dakota, South Dakota and Nebraska, was taken over by non-Indians. They crowded the Black Hills shortly.
100 years later, we took the Black Hills to court. The case of the Black Hills. It went through the Supreme Court of the United States, and they declared it an illegal sale. They awarded the Indians $79 million. It's accumulated interest. We never took it. The Black Hills are not for sale.
Howard Olson is in Oglala Sioux. He is sad every time he visits his tribe's sacred land, which is now out of their control. The Native Americans will always name this mountain 6 grandfathers, as they used to for centuries. In the 1920s, the Mount Rushmore National Memorial was established in the Black Hills to emphasize the U.S. authority in the area. Now the worldwide known monument represents the first 150 years of the history of the United States. 150 years. Actually, the struggle between Native Americans and the newcomers has lasted even longer. The monument was built some 60 years after this land had been taken over by the U.S. authorities. Since then, a sacred Indian place has turned into a tourist attraction. Thousands of tourists come to the Black Hills each year, and it's not the only Mount Rushmore memorial that attracts people to the area. Local vendors make money selling arts and crafts made by the Native Americans, while some dodgy salesmen buy cheap Asian-made products and resell them in the Black Hills, claiming that they've been made by local tribes. It appears that they steal money from the Native Americans. Howard Olson is trying to struggle for the authenticity of American Indian-made products. He collects handmade crafts and delivers them to gift shops. Thanks to him, local handicraftsmen earn more money.
So how much are your earrings here?
Oh, the regular price.
Okay. So how much are you wanting to sell?
All of them.
All of them?
All of them.
Okay.
All these are running about $15 for them.
Okay.
And these will be all the rest at the regular price.
People on the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation have to produce something to survive. The Elk family specializes on arts and crafts. They've been producing earrings and bracelets for more than 10 years. 50-year-old Emerson is searching for raw materials, while his wife puts the gifts together.
The antler, we use every part of the deer when we get it. The antler, the deer skin, the hair we use in some of our dance outfits. So we use every part of the deer and the buffalo.
The family has suffered a lot, as both Emerson and his wife used to be alcohol addicts, like many of their friends and neighbors. However, they managed to overcome the addiction and found a way out. Now they have grandchildren who live better than most children of their age on the reservation, thanks to their grandparents.
We look at our children and we want to make a better life for them. There's got to be more to it than drinking, so we did. We looked at our children and we said we'll give it up.
Although they are relatively rich, the Elks remain dissatisfied with their life on the reservation. They say the U.S. authorities still don't consider them as human beings, so that even an ID card contains information on the purity of their blood.
It is a discrimination, but again, to show the rest of the world we're still here, we always show this proudly to show the people that despite all the bad stuff that happened to our ancestors, we're still here,
The Pine Ridge Chamber of Commerce has to deal with economic problems on the reservation. The tribe doesn't export much, and most products come from the outside. Local residents earn most of their money from government grants. In the meantime, the federal authorities don't seem to be concerned much with the reservation's problems.
It's estimated that 80% of all dollars that come onto the reservation leave the reservation within 72 hours. So I don't know what the exact figures are, but that's the estimate. So our goal is to try to capture some of those dollars before they go off into other communities and towns.
A lack of money makes the Pine Ridge in South Dakota one of the poorest areas in the United States. Almost half of its population lives below the federal poverty level.
We live, in 80% poverty, 80% unemployment? And they just gave all of our council representatives $10,000 more per year. But yet there's a lot of people that don't have running water and don't have electricity and food, basic needs. But yet the rich get richer and the poor get poor. And I believe our tribal government keeps us in that poverty so that we can keep getting handouts from the government.
Life doesn't change much for most people here on the Pine Ridge Reservation. Every day they are forced to struggle for survival. And the only thing they know for sure is that the next day the struggle will continue.
It could be any Russian town, but it has something with a difference. Orthodox churches and synagogues just nearby. So, is it Russia or Israel?
And it's not difficult to tell that we're in the capital of the Jewish autonomous region.
James Brown has found the promised land in the far east of Russia. What's it like? Find out on RT.
The Keeley radio station is the only medium based on the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation in South Dakota. Along with music, the station covers sports and political events. It remains one of the most popular sources of information on the reservation.
Memory of Corenda Pumpkin Rock Eagles. Now I do have Red Till Wine with Daddy's Grill.
But it's not that easy to run a radio station here.
People think that Kiwi is free, and Kiwi is not free, right, Bill?
Yeah.
It's not free at all. I mean, when I worked here, there was times when I didn't get paid, but I was like, well, I believe in Kiwi and I believe in the Lakota language, and that's where I stand.
Dozens of people call the studio every day, as it's their only chance to listen to traditional American Indian songs. These people come to White Clay, Nebraska almost every day. They appear here early in the morning, as soon as local stores open. Their desired goal is sold in cans and contains about 5% of alcohol.
We all drink here, man.
Why? What's the reason for it?
Reason for drinking?
They didn't manage to find a job on the reservation. They found their way out of their problems here. In fact, they don't need any spirits to become drunk in a few minutes. Alcohol isn't natural for the American Indians, so they just can't assimilate it. White Americans who work in local shops seem to pay no attention to the tragedy of the Lakota people.
How many people used to come here? I mean, every day?
Oh, you never know. You know, you could have 100 a day, you could have 20 a day, you could have 200 a day.
How do they usually buy?
Beer only.
The initiators of the establishment of the Sovereign Republic of Lakota claim they will close all the stores which sell alcohol dozens of miles around their territory. They promise this exact place will be closed first.
Just 2 miles away from this place, the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation starts, the place that many Native Americans who live there are trying to flee from.
Kyle is the second largest town on the Pine Ridge Reservation. Life here is poor, so some enterprising non-Indians make money here. This woman comes to Kyle once a month from Nebraska. She brings low-quality goods and resells them here for double or even triple the price to the Native Americans. The locals are forced to purchase them, as the nearest department store is located more than 100 kilometers away.
Now I don't see any difference. They shop just like the rest of us do. They get money too. Around the first of the month they get some money from the government and stuff, so.
Some American Indians continue to live as they do, while others are trying to resist.
I do not want to satisfy everyone that has Indian blood running through them, or white blood, or whatever kind of blood. Okay? We're reestablishing a free country. Those that want to stay in this horrific country called the United States of America, stay there. Continue to suffer.
Russell Mintz knows what he's talking about. An actor and a politician, he has stood against the U.S. government since the 1970s. He used to be one of the leaders of the American Indian Movement, an organization that resisted the U.S.-backed tribal government on the Oglala Sioux reservations.
The FBI, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, and the United States government, they had secretly armed and trained what the old lady started calling a goon squad. It was his enforcement squad, his private little army, colonial army, and he was terrorizing the people all over this reservation, 4,500 square miles. On February 27, 1973, about 70 some odd cars came over that hill.
This standoff between the American Indian Movement and the FBI, along with the National Guard, lasted for 71 days.
We have bet our lives that we can make change for the American Indian, whether we live or die, and I'm prepared to die.
Here at Wounded Knee, history repeated itself. In 1890, the U.S. Army massacred several hundreds of Oglala Sioux at the very same place. The tribe was almost annihilated. It was the last page of the Indian War's history. Russell Mintz believes that the confrontation still continues.
That was the United States of America. See what people don't realize. And Wounded Knee in 1973 personifies what America does. It does not only to the rest of the world, but to their own people. When we came here in 73 for our freedom, because the United States refuses to live up to its own laws.
Despite the idea of a sovereign Lakota nation is very popular among the Indians, most young natives prefer the American way of life. George is just 13 years old, but he's already playing as quarterback for a college team. He's quite a typical boy at the reservation. He has very limited opportunities for the future. George dreams of either becoming a professional football player or joining the army.
You gotta do something instead of just sitting around. And that's all.
There are several schools on the reservation. The English language and non-Indian culture and history are taught in all of them. People who want the tribe to live the traditional way are concerned with this very much. They claim that many Oglala Sioux children don't know the tribe's history and traditions. Many families try to educate their children in a traditional manner at home. Charles and his wife are very much involved in their children's education. Every day they check their homework.
That one's right, this one's right.
The parents also teach them the language of their ancestors, Lakota. Those home lessons are the only way to preserve the unique culture of the tribe. But at the moment, the Lakota culture seems to be more dead than alive.
It's still doing as part of the United States. It's one of the freest countries in the world. It's supposed to be, but we're here like on a concentration camp. They still oppress us. They call it the soul wound, where it affects the whole people. That even our unborn kids are born with it, and they feel it. It's kind of like in their genetics. It's a soul wound. They're hurt.
Connie spends most of her time in the kitchen. Now she's focused on educating her daughters the best way possible. Her older children are already married, and all of them now serve in Iraq. She's happy with it, saying that the war-torn Middle East is safer than their reservation.
They were all okay. But since we got cable TV, they watch a lot of violence on here, and a lot of gangs are starting around here. And
the family members are descendants of the legendary chief Crazy Horse, one of the last free leaders of Oglala Lakota.
Crazy Horse. The great Lakota shirt wearer. Very few. I think there was only 4 or 5 shirt wearers in the whole tribe and the league. He was president. Little Bighorn, Custer's defeat, many other battles.
In the 20th century, the tribe decided to erect a monument to the brave warrior. In 1948, the sculptor of Polish origin Kocek Tsiolkovski began the construction of the monument in the Black Hills, 13 kilometers away from the Mount Rushmore National Memorial. It took 14 years to carve the memorial dedicated to 4 U.S. presidents. The monument to a Native American hero is being constructed for more than 60 years, and it's still far from being finished.
And we withdrew unilaterally because they have done nothing but lie and have planned genocide. Keep stealing our land in violation of their own laws, their sacred laws. The Constitution of the United States of America. They violate daily. So, we withdrew. After 155 years of trying to live with the white American, it's impossible. Impossible.
In fact, some Indians from the Oglala Sioux tribe feel comfortable living off the reservation. Many of them come to the nearest major city, situated not far from the reservation.
Rapid City, South Dakota is just like many other cities across the United States. The life here is calm and sometimes even boring. So in order to find some entertainment, local residents have to drive about 120 kilometers to an Indian reservation.
The casino is one of the most ambitious projects within the reservation. It was started in 1994. 13 years later, a new $20 million casino with a hotel and restaurant was unveiled. Hundreds of people from South Dakota and neighboring Nebraska visit the casino daily. During the day, there are predominantly white people there. At night, the Native Americans come here to gamble.
I used to work here, but I just come here for the entertainment now because there's no entertainment on this reservation anywhere.
Those who prefer the traditional way of life don't like the casino. Although it provides many tribal members with jobs, many Indians just spend their lost money here.
I have good days sometimes. Good days where I win. Sometimes I come out and it's like make some money out and I go home.
I've won so far. $1,500. Good day. I'll be probably leaving shortly.
The chief of the Oglala Sioux tribe, Oliver Red Cloud, is rarely seen here. He is a strong supporter of the Republic of Lakota, and despite his age, he is one of the tribe's most implacable men.
White people come and take the contract. They bring their own people. And our reservation, we have a lot of young people out of job, no job. There's still no job. So we make money for the white people, and we have a lot of young people and no job. So that's what happened now today. So that's why we're against it.
The Lakota say freedom is always in their mind. More than 100 years of colonization, these people don't surrender. The Lakota believe the elders believe the Lakota will once